Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is One Day Today, and we are on episode 93, approaching 100 episodes. It's been, over 150, almost 200 guests that we've had in this space, and every day it's a surprise. It's a humbling experience, and it's an exploration of just the full spectrum and the beauty of humanity. And on that note, you are a gift. Who you are is a gift, and when you recognize that, and whether you do recognize that or not, there's such a powerful expression of who you are that impacts the world in more ways than you can even imagine. Who you are every day and who you choose to be in the space of possibility that you exist and create from is what is the space for others to experience what you have to share. Whether it's your written word, whether it's your songs, whether it's your smile, whether it's your ability to plant beautiful flowers in the garden, whether it's your ability to be a beekeeper, whatever your gift is. And I wouldn't even say you have one gift, you have many gifts. You have so much impact on the world. Everything you say has an effect. Every whenever you extend your hand or whenever you extend your fist, whenever you smile, whenever you smirk or frown, it ripples across space and time and changes the course of the entire universe. And I would assert that if every human and when every human experiences that truth, and whenever we all are standing in the gift that we have to share but also to receive, that's where magic happens. That's where humanity goes beyond what we even could ever imagine as possible. When you and I are expressing the truest self that we are, and collectively sharing and lifting and loving our neighbor, there's no bounds to what's possible. And that's what excites me. That's what brings me, inspires me, and moves me to beyond anything I can imagine. What recipes could we create together in that space? What new discoveries could we make, scientific or spiritual? What new art could we create? What's possible? And that's the question for me. What's possible? And the answer is anything. And the expression of that anything is you, and your unique self, your uniqueness is that flavor, is that spice that you give us all, that nobody else can give but you. And I really invite you to just embody and share the gift that you are. And that's what this stage is about. And that's what we'll continue to do. And I'm just excited about both our guests here today are very, very much, both guests are very much in that, I see them in that light, and we're excited to have them share with us. But first, let me welcome our co-host, Matthew. Matthew, mahalo.
What's going on? Oh,
How you doing today?
I'm doing all right. A little exhausted, a little frustrated, more than a little frustrated actually. But
Yeah,
that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day. Um, it's been a very very full 2 weeks, and I missed you guys last week, and I'm glad to be back.
I get
Uh,
it.
yeah, you know, it's fun. It's funny how things line up. Like these past 2 weeks for me have been kind of an exercise in frustration, and also an exercise in just recognizing how done I am perpetuating current systems and models in society and so on and so forth. Um, and you're right. We do have the power to change this, but I don't know that that's going to happen until enough people stand up and say enough.
Mm,
We're done, and we're doing it. We're here. We're putting out the call. We're putting out the invitation. But what is it going to take for anyone watching, for any of our guests, and a lot of our guests are already doing it, already there. Um, but what is it going to take for each individual to get to that point of enough? And there's a question that I've has been coming back over and over and over again. How bad is it going to have to get? Like how miserable is someone going to have to get before they realize that what is happening isn't working for them? Um, and is that ever going to happen? Does it need to happen? And this is a really big topic, and I can speak on it for like an hour and a half. So I'm really working to summarize here. um, Let me put it like this. So everything that exists today was imagined into existence at some point in the past. If there is a problem, if there is something wrong, I would define that one thing as people assume that what exists today can't be changed.
It's
That
assuming we
we're,
don't have the choice.
yeah, exactly. We don't have the choice. We don't have the power.
Mm.
And that right there, that assumption is actually what's stopping the change.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a self-fulfilling powerlessness. So what can I do? I'm just a one person. And it's like, what can you do? You're just one person.
You can have conversations. You can be different. You can not stop playing into current normals just because other people expect you to. You can
Mm-hmm.
stop playing small.
Right. Yeah. No, and that, I think a lot of that is based in survival. And there is something you said, and I mean it's like a well, when you said when will it be enough, or when will we be enough? And I think it's interesting enough in a language standpoint. It's fascinates me like on a personal level. It's like, when am I going to be enough? And what fascinates me about that is like in the personal conversation, because a lot of time what stops us or stops me in my life is I was afraid of not being enough, or I'm like trying to in order to survive, in order to look good, in order to be enough in maybe my own eyes, maybe others' eyes, maybe God's eyes. I don't like but it's like, and I feel like that is a big part of it, is the hardest thing to do. It feels like accepting we are enough, but there's also it's almost, I'll put it this way, it's like, where does it start being enough? Like if there was a way to measure enough being enough, where does is it like you've rescued 100 people from, or you've cured cancer for 100 people, 1,000 people, 1,001, 1,000, like where does being enough, it's not in what we do that makes us enough. It's that the enough is a story that there's no measure to. And it's like being enough is realizing that we've always been enough. At the same time, we're not, there's no there's no such thing as enough. That's a story.
Yeah, exactly. And to kind of flip that a little bit and use a different word, um, not being enough is also like a way of judging ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And
And a way to avoid responsibility.
a way to avoid responsibility. And so, like, what measure or what are you judging yourself against? What are you judging yourself relative to? And if you're judging
Mm-hmm.
yourself relative to society, well, that's an infinite measuring stick. You're never going to be enough. It's never going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's always going to be something more. There's always going to be like the next thing to get. There's always going to be the next thing to do. You're never going to be enough if that's your measuring stick.
Right.
But if you
Yeah.
shift that and
Yeah.
let go of the idea of like having to be something and like being frustrated because you're not that, then all of a
Mm-hmm.
sudden you have an opportunity to be what you are. And what you are is enough
Right.
automatically.
Right. It's exactly that. There's no amount of Hail Mary prayers that you could do that'll make you enough. It's just knowing, that we are enough. And and I mean, that's one of the hardest things to do is to accept who we are, and that, and accept that we are enough, and that it's it's like accepting the love that we're afraid we don't deserve.
Yeah. Yeah. And then just being real, being yourself, and not playing small to make other people feel secure.
Hmm. It's I mean, it's a hill that has no top, and it's in the eternal present moment that we all discover it, and we have to be reminded of it, because we'll all fall off the path of But I feel like both our guests today will get a glimpse of what it takes. So I want to invite now our first guest to the stage for our first time guest. Please welcome to the stage Juliias Ellis.
Hello
Welcome,
there.
Juliias.
Thank you for having me, Abram and Matthew and Heather. Shout out to Heather. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Heather. So thank you, Juliias. I'm so excited to have you. We've spoken some, and you shared about what you're up to, but I'm really excited to hear your story. But if you're ready to go, I want to say, Juliias, the stage is yours.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
Well, hello, everyone. My name is Juliias Ellis, and it's great to be with you in this time. It's been a really transformative time for me, as it probably has been for you. And one of the things that I like to just start off this is just to take a moment, and I close my eyes, and I just want you to, have that moment too. And I invite you to close your eyes and take a moment and breathe and just offer gratitude. Thank you. Thank you for our precious life. Thank you for the precious people around us. Thank you for this precious earth. And thank you for our own wisdom, courage, love, and will to live our highest and most true self. Okay, everyone, thank you. Just wanted to take a moment for that. So for me, one of the pivotal moments in my life that actually impacted me my whole life was when I was 7 years old. And my mom came to me and said, I have to tell you something. And I said, what is that? And she said, you were adopted. I'm not your real birth parent. And I didn't really know what that meant. And I said, well, what happened? Why aren't you my real birth parent? And she said, well, your birth parent, your mom, gave you up for adoption. So we were talking about, and I was listening to Abram and Matthew speaking about not being enough. So that really drove my whole life. And not being enough, not having enough, not being enough. So because I saw it as I was given up. But this last couple of years has been really amazing, because I have come into relationship with being grateful, or gratefulness, a bigger space of gratitude, in that it encompasses everything and everyone. And I was able to see a new view of that. And that was, my mom was grateful for adopting me. My dad was grateful for adopting me. And I had a place to grow and develop. And last year, when COVID hit, in April, I got together and was inspired with my colleagues to create a space of sharing gratefulness. So we showed up. We showed up every week, and we call it the Gratitude Lab. And so we shared in our experiences, and each person was going through different breakdowns. Some people were going through major breakdowns. People were dying in their family, or friends of theirs had died. I started it because of a friend of mine who died. I didn't get a chance to say, I'm so grateful for you to be in my life. So as a tribute to her, I started this. And so as we shared our lives, we shared our breakdowns and the things that we love. And slowly over time, something started to emerge. And that was, with whatever people were dealing with, they could see and be grateful for it. And as they took this on in themselves, things transformed. They could be with anything, be very present, be kind to themselves, and see where they could actually transform something that had been eating them away for many, many years. So that led me to look at other things in my life, what I'm grateful for, my house, my clothes, my car. And I really started looking at, as a designer, how can we design being grateful so that, what would that look like? In other words, if I was really grateful for my clothes, would that, from having something stay around, I would care about the toxicity in that clothes for my own health and well-being, and what would the impact be on the planet? So these questions started waking me up at night, and kept me up at night too, oftentimes. And so I started having these conversations with people, and then I got an inspiration to bring in experts who are solving wicked problems. And that's how I got myself into creating the Circular Design Summit, which is about designing for circularity with a systems thinking mindset, a UX experience mindset, and looking at how we can design for waste, how we can design from gratitude and abundance and radical connection and collaboration. So this was something that really moves me, and I'm actually in the midst of it right now. And the other thing that gratefulness made available for me was to actually be with my own breakdowns, frustrations, anger, that feeling of not enough. And I was very clear that if I could just bring in the presence of being grateful and share that with people and give that to people, it was always more than enough. There was always more to give. And one of the things that I was having a breakdown with was my garden. And the funny thing was my orchids. And they weren't blooming for a couple of years, and they're in a dark space. We were giving them fertilizer. We were doing all the things. We were reading the blogs and watching the videos. And my garden was going through some really, it wasn't thriving. So I discovered this thing called Yoko farming. And it is incorporating the principles of organic farming, regenerative farming. And what it does is we add greeting the plants with gratitude, positive words, and actually it is connected to a spiritual practice of giving light. So people that are light givers actually give light to the plants and the soil. And when I started giving gratitude and thanks to my orchids, and sometimes I would sing it and be really goofy, my orchids literally started blooming. And I was so shocked that we had tried everything and the orchids started blooming. After 3 years, I just said thank you every day to them. And so I realized that this is the vibration of gratitude. And when we thank each other, when we acknowledge each other, when we acknowledge ourselves, this vibration brings life. And it creates a life of being grateful and more things to be grateful for. So this is what I would like to share today, because it's near and dear to my heart and to my community that I created, and that they're bringing that in their life and the people that they love. And actually to the people that they've had breakdowns with, they just find a way to be grateful for that breakdown, whatever it is that frustrated them. And ultimately, I'm grateful that I got the chance to be adopted and wanted and loved, because each one of us have that opportunity to give to each other. And just like the clothes that can circulate, when we create a world where things can circulate be renewed and appreciated, where there's not a lot of waste of product and human life and human potential, then I truly believe we have a heaven on earth. So thank you, everyone. This is good.
Wow. Well, thank you, first of all. That was so powerful. Like, I mean, your whole relationship with gratitude and how you created, the Circular Design Summit, which I'll put the link here in the bottom, but it's amazing what you've created. But that story of your orchids, it like gave me the chills. Like, it's it's profound how something is, I mean, it's simple, not always easy, but simple as gratitude can make that. And it's not surprising at all, but it's surprising, just you don't think of something like that simple would be a solution. I've tried everything, I look at the books, and it's like, and I think gardens are such a great analogy for life and living life in general. Gardening, it's just how we blossom in our lives, experiences, and how we attempt to have things blossom in our lives, and to no avail, they don't blossom. Or it's like, we make them wrong, we get mad, we try this, we ask for advice, and it's just beautiful how something as simple as gratitude, as you discovered, was not only the missing ingredient, but it was something that it gave life to where there wasn't before. It's so powerful. So just thank you for that story. It really, really moved me. I just really appreciate your who you are being is the space of gratitude, and it's something that it's so easy to forget about. Like myself, like I will forget when I get caught up in my own feelings, my own thoughts. I will forget to be grateful, and you really brought me back to that. So I know I know a lot of our viewers will do the same. So just thank you for sharing that.
Thank you, Abram, and you're welcome. And I see an orchid in the background. That's what I was looking at the screen. I was like, there's an orchid and there's some plants back there. And they pick up on vibration, and we are literally vibration. Yeah. When it comes down to it. Yeah. So, and it was my scientific inquiry, and wow, would this make a difference? And we were really surprised. And so whenever I have an argument, or if I'm really tense, I go over to my orchids in my garden. I say, I'm so sorry. And I swear it makes a difference. It does. I mean, there's some stories in Yoko agriculture and different parts of the world. And there were teachers that had, a very, unruly class of students. And she literally used the tool of bringing a plant in and having them see the impact of, their words.
Yeah, it's profound, and it like gratitude, specifically, when I mean, no matter what I'm facing, sometimes, gratitude, like how simple of a practice it is. It really, it's like the practice is like being able to, even when life throws us the biggest obstacles, there's always something to be grateful for. Even when like we're in excruciating pain, there's still something to be grateful for. And like, that's such a powerful practice to be able to, and I mean, when it seems ugly, to look for the beauty. When somebody is just full of resentment and anger, when you can still forgive. And it's like the same thing. It's like it's always a choice. Even when it feels like we're cornered and there's nothing we can do, there's always a choice. And I think that's one of the lessons in the story you just shared, is there's always a choice to be grateful. There's always a choice to seek and to share and to water the beauty, even when it feels like there's nothing to be grateful for. And I think that's that practice that you're embodying and that you're sharing with us is, I feel like there's no measure to how much beauty that opens up in our lives when we can go there, especially when it's hard, especially when we don't want to, especially we don't know how to.
That's the truth. That is so true. And I've seen my own destiny shift. I've seen my circumstances shift just by practicing gratitude and gratefulness, and seeing how that actually impacts other people and my relationships with people, even the toughest ones that I've ever, I what I try to do every day, literally twice a day, is send gratitude, offer a prayer of gratitude to people, and sending them on that, send them on whatever that goes, right? That magic goes out in the universe. And I definitely know that it showers them when they've been going through some tough times.
Yeah, I know that experience very, very well. One of the things I'm grateful for is there's a Hawaiian practice called Ho'oponopono, and it's incredibly simple. In English, the practice basically translates to the mantra, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I love you. Please forgive me. Thank you."
Mm. Mm.
And that, the way one of my good friends and teachers explained it to me is he said, when you offer that, consider it a prayer. It's basically giving up control of the outcome of the circumstances to the divine, and it's that gratitude that carries the message. And I like, there's plenty of stories. There's one there's a famous psychologist, Glenn Haleakala, who took over a mental institution, and the only thing he did for 6 months was he would go in, he would pull out each patient's profile for a certain amount of time, and he would practice Ho'oponopono just with their profile, just holding them.
Wow.
And then he'd just go to the next patient, the next patient, the next patient, the next patient. And I think it was like within 6 months to a year, something like that, 90% of the patients that were in there were released and
Oh my God.
back fully functioning in society. And to me, that really demonstrates the power of gratitude, and it's something that I have used personally in my own life. Like when I've gotten in, like when I've just really messed up myself, like when I've really, like, just done something out of fear or out of grief or out of just a simple unawareness that just has really ruined a relationship, or put a strain on a work environment, something like that. I will sit with Ho'oponopono, and literally the next day I come back and it's like magically everything's fine.
Wow. Yeah, Matthew, what I'm really present to is like during this time, there's been times when I didn't want to accept something, or I was really attached to something. Like, and actually it was this week it got discovered, like there's always, we can go deeper, right? We can always go deeper and expand ourselves, and and then that gets expanded out there. And I could see how my gratitude was like it wasn't even present, because I was so attached to how it had to look, or how I had to look in the situation. And when I got back to just like, wow, wait a minute, I can just be present with what I'm grateful for in this moment, and just let it go. Just let that person go. Let them be. Let this be. Just let it be, and that seemed to disappear everything for me. And I was able just to get right back on and just really generate being grateful, and just being enough. Like, and yeah, there's so many systems that are, breaking down now, totally. And I know that in my commitment to in my life, when there's a lot of breakdowns, I know that, hey, I think I'm on the right path. Because there's a breakdown here, and I'm like, yeah, well, it's nothing wrong, but there's definitely stuff happening, and there's a gap. And I'm like, and so then I just like, what are my tools? And here's one of my tools. And then just sharing, just giving just giving something to someone else that makes them grateful definitely expands it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, my laptop kind of died temporarily earlier, so I missed part of what you and Abram were saying. And so if you already kind of went over this, let's just bring it up again, because why not?
Yeah.
But like something you said earlier in your talk, that pointed to that shift in perspective, like shifting from, not understanding and like feeling not enough because you were adopted
Oh yeah.
to that shift in perspective of, seeing the gratitude in your parents and then like the gratitude in your experience of it.
Oh yeah.
Um, I wonder if you could unpack that a little bit more.
Sure.
Um,
Yeah. So, when she said that, I made it mean that, that I wasn't valuable and worthy. And that story ran my life. And I was very angry at the world, very angry uh, at the universe. Like I felt injustice and was a victim of that, very much so. And it was impacting everywhere in my life, like my relationships, anything that I went and put my heart into. I had to confront that I wasn't enough. That story would run me when I was putting my heart and soul into something, and so that had a net effect, basically, of uh, showing up for jobs that I really loved, I thought I loved, and then I would get fired, or relationships that I would invest myself into, and then things would fall apart, or my friends would move away. And I always came back to that thing, like not enough or anything. But it was one day when I really got it, that, wait a minute here, wait a minute, that my mom and dad put their butt on the line for another life, and that they brought me in to nurture me, to give me a life. That's love. And they were so grateful for that opportunity, because my mom could not have another child after my sister. And so for her to do this, she really put skin in the game for another life. And when I got how much she put in and my dad put in, how could I not say that they were grateful to have me? I mean, that just didn't make any logical sense. So when I got that on a very deep level, uh, it's never been the same after that. And what I see is that the waste of human life, of human potential. I see that, and then I see that it doesn't need to be like that. It actually can be that we are all, like you said in the very beginning of this, that we are all, we don't have to do anything, that we all already are that, this beautiful being. And that when we come from that and then give gratitude to that and serve that up, then it's a completely different experience. And we cherish people, we cherish things. We don't throw them away or throw things away, right?
yeah,
So,
exactly. Um, do you remember like what brought that realization about? How it kind of unfolded?
how it happened, it was over a couple of things. It's one of those things when you're waking up really early in the morning. Sometimes you have, like, that's what it was for me. Like, I was waking up early, and so my I guess that, that higher self is more prominent than my mind. And I was able to see the visions of my mom and dad being there for me as a child, and uh, and then the commitment behind that. When I would show up, like when I was a kid, I would show up and see my mom working with kids. She was in pediatrics, and my dad too. And so they had a dedication and a love that really showed up in their life. Like they were living it. It was like a living, breathing example. And that was the reality. So that's those moments, like, kind of part, like, I don't, for lack of a better word, duct taping all the different, insights together, and then going, wait a minute. I'm like, this is
Yeah.
ridiculous.
So
who is this person talking to me about that?
so if I could reparse that a little bit, it sounds like you basically had a moment to step outside the story in your head and actually see your parents for what they really were and not what you had been telling yourself.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Those moments kind of knock you flat on your ass sometimes, don't they?
It was a lot to take in. That's why I'm like, that's like my mind was like, and then like we talk about the space, like it's like this huge space that we're all connected to. I think I got connected to that space when I woke up early in the morning. The bigger vision.
Julius, thank you so much for who you're being and your gift of gratitude that you're well, back to your orchid story. You are watering, and your gratitude is bringing out the gratitude in us all. So I'm grateful for you and who you're being, and just you're sharing who you are with us and what you're up to, and just what you've got going with the Circular Design Summit. Again, I'm going to share the link. It's so awesome, and I just thank you. I just honor and just value your presence here. So thank you for sharing with us on the stage, and we'd love to have you come back and share with us some more after your summit. Tell us how it went. But thank you so much, Julius.
Thank you, Abram and Matthew. Thank you so much. It was really fun.
Thank you.
Really
thank
great.
you. Pleasure's all ours. Well, we're going to check back in with Julius in a moment here. But first, let me check in with everybody and say, you have something to share that impacts the whole world. And this is why we have this stage, is we wanted you to share the gift that you are, what you've experienced, what you've been through that has allowed you to see, the gift that you are, and that, the contribution you are to us all. So I want to invite and encourage you to be a guest on our stage. If you go to onedaymvmt.org/share-my-gift, you can be a guest here and really just be you and be with full love and acceptance of the gift that you are. We really want to just encourage you to share with us, because you have something that impacts the whole world, and we want to celebrate you, and we want to hold up the gift that you are. And that's part of what our one day mission is. We are here bringing you and me and communities together in joyous celebration, unifying humanity in our diversity to create a better world for us all. And that's what we're here to do. One story at a time, one share at a time, one human at a time. So now it's my pleasure to welcome back to the stage, we have with us Ginny Jolly. Hi, Ginny.
Hi, my
So
awesome
good to see you.
friends. Pleasure is always mine. Hi, Matthew. Hi, Abram. How are you?
Wonderful. And I'm just so happy of all the people to come back and join us. It's you. I mean, without any coincidence, we are very jolly when for some reason the space is always more jolly when you're around. So please update us with what you've got going on. I know you have we're going to share about it, but I know you have a Wednesday networking event that we want to hear about. But Ginny, please share with us all things that you've been up to and the gift that you are. So again, Ginny, the stage is yours.
My awesome friends. Honestly, I really believe in one thing. In universe, there's no accidents. Everything happens for a reason. I was at one of my very dear community CEO space when somebody texted me, "Oh, Ginny, you need to be at a different place." I said, "Really? Abraham, Matthew, they need you." I said, "Okay, I love those guys. I love their mission. I love what they do." And I was mesmerized by listening to Julius, your guest before. So in my mind, I was thinking, what am I going to talk about today? You've heard my story. Yes, we all take different turns, but the three things which I really want to talk about today, because I live in the moment, and I was closing my eyes and I was listening to Julia's stories. By the way, I've never met her before, but I would love to know her more from all that what she shared. In life, it's all about connecting to the right environment, right people around you. That's where your personal growth happens, your spiritual growth happens, your business growth happens. It's all about having that right people around you. So the first word she was talking about, gratitude. I will share with you and your audience. You can see I'm from India. So there is a word which is a part of my vocabulary. I wouldn't even say vocabulary anymore. It's a part of my DNA. The word is shukar. And you won't believe it. I repeat that word with almost every breath I take. Shukar means grateful. I'll say shukar, 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 grateful, grateful, grateful. So I look at the clouds. I'm walking, for a walk, and I look up the clouds, and I'll say, in my mind, rhythm goes on, shukar, shukar, shukar. I'm grateful for what universe has given me, the opportunity to look at the clouds, enjoy the fresh air, and be grateful. So listening to your, the way you bring up the show, and I admire, I see where you're coming from. And Matthew, I heard you also when you said the frustration. And I heard you talking about when is it enough? What is enough? When are we going to, make, but one day at a time, my dear friends. And I will nudge you to go further. It's one breath at a time. One breath at a time, my awesome friends. Ginny Jolly, older in age from you guys, hopefully a little wiser, and I live my life with one breath at a time. So gratitude is an integral part of, should be an integral part of our being, and that's where our personal connection to the universe, whatever you may call it, happens. I'm very honored and blessed that I was raised by a dad, my papa, who taught me early on as a child to be constantly in gratitude. So shukar, shukar, shukar is the word, comes to me all the time. This today, when I was being pulled out of my CEO Space family, which I love because they nudge me to grow more, I took upon myself, there's a reason for me to be here. Maybe somebody else needs to hear that part of the story from Ginny Jolly's angle, Ginny Jolly's glasses. Different story, but we all have different flavors and colors. So gratitude, Juliias, grateful. I'm in gratitude that I was listening to your story from the backstage. The second part of your story was about orchids. And that was piercing my heart. I'll tell you why. I am an avid gardener. I literally, when I'm in the ground, I often tell people my church, my synagogue, my gurdwara, my mandir, my mosque, whatever you may call it, is actually in my garden. When I'm kneeling down and I have my hands in the ground and I see the dirt, because I'm reminded we are just a speck of dirt. We are going to go back there, and that's what the life is all about. So talking about orchids, I often say, I can revive a dead plant because I love plants. I talk to them. I sing to them. I am always saying, looking at them, and I often will, if I go to a store and there are some plants which have been thrown away on a rack, which is going to be, they are just trying to get rid of those plants, and I will pick them up. Why? Because I'll say, oh my God, I need to nurture them to bring them back to life, because I truly believe in adoption. And my husband has actually, my kids laugh about it. Mom, it's a jungle in the house. You are not allowed to get any more plants because that's how crazy I am. I love plants. I love life, actually. So talking about orchids, this was one, I love orchids. I love orchids. So every time I would go to a store, I'll pick up a new one. And every time I can convince myself, oh, this is a different color, blah, blah, blah. But reality is, I could never bring them back to flower again. And you know what? That was a stab in my heart. I would buy them because I really wanted to do my best to bring them back to, have a next shoot next year, the flower, and I would do everything. I would water them properly and everything. And I would ask anybody, somebody, I would meet somebody and say, oh, I'm a gardener. I said, tell me more about orchids. Do you know how to grow orchids? And everybody would give me a different recipe, this, do that. And I'm constantly learning. That one thing you can understand about me. I'm always keeping my options open. So long story short, last year, when my one orchid suddenly got the new shoot, oh my God, I wish I could tell you, I was a billionaire that day, not a millionaire, a billionaire. I felt that the world has come to me with that present, which I was really hoping for a long, long, long time. And finally, everybody has it. I realized that it was the different positioning, the place I was putting the orchids. I have a huge bay window in my bathroom. I was putting them there. Long story short, I have started enjoying the orchids to the fact that when I can bring them back next year, when the flowering shoot comes up, and I love the fact that orchids are becoming my friend also. So coming back to the Juliias story, and yes, the universe listens to your vibrations. Universe listens to your gratitude. Love, compassion is the most powerful language which surpasses everything. Doesn't matter whether I know you or not. If I can smile at you, I can convey my love to even my physical being there, anything, it gets conveyed. So I'm a big believer on the fact that your intentions, the right intentions, the positive intentions can be the game changer. And yes, fortunately for me, my last name is Jolly. I often laugh about it. I'm ordained to be jolly all the time. So it's a little easier for me. My awesome friends, life is all about choices. Yes, it is easy for me, but do you think I don't have life full of life? Do you think I don't have issues which keep you awake at night? Do you think I don't have challenges like all of you do? But I remind myself every breath of my day, every day. In the morning, I get up, Ginny Jolly, what's your purpose? Ginny Jolly's purpose is to bring more jolliness to the world. Ginny Jolly's purpose is to bring more awareness about vibrant health, because health is a key. And Ginny Jolly's purpose is about financial freedom. I'll be honest, I'm a businesswoman. I came with $20 in my pocket, no business knowledge, no nothing, but I have learned with hard work, America is the place to reach and acquire your American dream. So I will always talk about that also. So the three things I thought in my mind after listening, but I wasn't prepared. Abraham, you just caught me by by chance, I'll say today. I wasn't planning to be here again so quickly, but I'm honored. I'm honored. So gratitude, orchids, and the third was adoption. Let me share a story, which I very seldom share with in public as such. I'm a very blessed mom. I have two boys. You can say I gave birth to them, so they're my biological boys. My father loved me so much that I always thought that every time I was pregnant, I'll get a little girl, a little daughter. So after having two boys, I would cry many times. I would say, why why God? Why, why Guru? Why Allah? Whatever. Why was I not chosen to be a mother of a little girl? Don't take me wrong. I love my boys to death. They are my heart and soul. So long story short, I finally convinced my very analytical numbers guy, the planner, my dear husband, to adopt a little daughter from Vietnam. And when she was sharing her adoption story and she was saying all the issues which are going into her mind, I was thinking, I was putting myself in a different shoes. I am that adopted mom who went to Vietnam about 19 years ago, and we went and adopted a little girl who was 19 months old at that time. And every time I thought about my daughter, my adopted daughter, my dream was I will pour into her everything so she becomes a doctor one day, and then she goes and serves her community when she goes back to Vietnam to serve her community. You guys can talk to me and get in touch with me and ask me later on why I didn't choose India. Separate story, not a ugly story about the requirements and the rules and the regulations which we put around us, and we control people. But anyway, so my daughter is from Vietnam. When we went to pick her up, our requirement from the International Adoption Agency was that she should be a little daughter we wanted, and she should be about 2 years old, because at that time my younger son was 9 years old, and we didn't want too much of a gap, and we thought at 2 years of age will be great. She can really become integral part of a family, without having too much of her own history. We went there. I didn't want to see the picture of a baby because I really, really feel I have no right to choose a child. I just said, I want a daughter, a little girl. That's all the requirement. Obviously, she was up for adoption. We went, we got the paper signed at a courthouse, and we brought that little girl home, and we realized right away that there was something wrong with her. Our agency said, okay, let's take her, and we went and got her evaluation done, medical, everything. And yes, we realized there were some alarming issues which we could, see. You talk about adoption. I wanted a little girl. I wanted a little daughter who I can raise to be a doctor. I wasn't ready for a special need kid. Keep in mind, I had really crossed many hurdles in that process, because in our community, in Indian community, adoption is not a very common thing. People don't embrace it. So long story short, we did bring the little girl home. She's the angel in our house. She is the reason why I do anything I do in my life. She teaches me life lessons. Amanat is her name. She's 21 years old now. She's my princess. She's the reason I get up in the morning and I can be jolly every day, because she teaches me how to live her life and how we all should live our life without worrying about no stresses. She has no issues, because she has cognitive issues, so she is always happy. She never has list of things which she needs to do, accomplish. She never has worries about the bills need to be paid and what needs to be done. She always knows everything will be done for her, and things are done for her. She gets pleasure in little things. Mom, my birthday, going McDonald's. Really? Don't you want something? But no, McDonald's. What I'm trying to tell you is the little things in her life gives her so much of pleasure. And that's what brings me pleasure. I am on a mission to really live my life to the fullest. I'm on a mission to help people adopt, not only kids, adopt good ideas, adopt plants, adopt good friends. Anybody I touch, I call them, you're my family, you're my extended family. You're welcome to come to my home. You're welcome to come to Ginny Jolly for any assistance. So I want to be your committed, jolly friend for life. If you heard what you like, if you want to connect with me, please feel free. I have a wonderful event once a month. I do it. It's my way of giving back to my entrepreneurs, my solopreneurs, my business people. I call it Unleashing Your Free Spirit. Come and join me. Come and know me a little bit better. I would love to know your story. I would love to help you grow your business, because businesswoman I am, and I help propel people's businesses. I really want to help you any way I can. My next event is on June 2nd. Thank you for putting up there. Registration is required. It's a free event. It's my way of giving back to my society, of dreaming big and achieving the goals which you want to. Because if you are who you want to be, if you're financially free, you can do much better in the world. You can do more of your pet projects. You can do more of your nonprofit organization things. My dream is Be Jolly Foundation. I want to help special need kids to really get job training and employment for them. So it's an honor and pleasure to be here this moment, right now, in your presence, really enjoying your wisdom and your energies with me. Thank you for having me here. Thank you for letting me share my story with you. I'm waiting to hear yours.
Ginny, wow, thank you so much. That was amazing. And I'm just going to bring Julius back in. There's too many connections to not just bring her back in. So first of all, thank you, Ginny. Just your light, and you have such a contagious warmth that, you know, I just feel it just across the screen, across the cosmos. Like you exude such a warm, compassionate energy. It's contagious. And I just thank you for, you make the world so much brighter, and just in every space you exist. And no matter, and that's the beauty of this, you know, this COVID age, everyone's connecting online. It's like, it doesn't take anything to just be impacted by a soul such as yours. So just thank you for who you're being. And, you know, I want to give both of you a chance to interact, because there's so many parallels, and we never plan this, and this always works out this way. But I just want to give you both an opportunity to connect over what was shared. Just the orchids, the garden, the adoption, the love, the warmth, and the gratitude, the shukha, all of that. I want to just give you a space to just interact, because this is just beautiful. I don't even want to call it coincidence. It's exactly what it was meant to be.
You know, didn't Ginny say something too in the very beginning about there's no accidents or something like this, right? Here it is. It's right here.
Yes, it is. It is. Awesome. You know, believe it or not, 5 minutes before the show started, I had no idea I'm going to be here. I missed a mastermind and a people and my community, which I love. Don't take me wrong. I love that. But somebody texted me, he wants you there. I said, okay, I love those guys. Okay, I would be there. The advantage of this technology, hopping from close one, close there. Yeah. And I said, I can be, because I have another Zoom meeting at 6. She says, no. Olivia is the one, Sophia. She says, Ginny, please, they need you. And you know, I needed you, Julius. I needed to hear your story. You inspired me today. I immediately went on LinkedIn, and I'm already following you, because you know what? My daughter is the reason I'm doing everything now. And I'm so glad we brought her. You want to come and say hi? Just say hi.
Oh my gosh, that's so awesome.
And my boys are better boys because of her. Because they are better brothers. I've told them all the time, you are going to take care of your little sister, because she needs she's special. She'll never be able to be on her own, but she's the reason why we do everything. Yeah. So we are still on online. We are talking. So you can just say hi. That's enough. Okay. So I would love to be your friend, closer friend. Let's connect. I would love.
Yeah,
I've
that's
already
great.
said I'm following you.
I love that.
Let's
Thank
make
you.
a difference in the world wherever, how we can. It's my honor and pleasure to know you today. Oh my God, you guys keep on doing one day at a time, one breath at a time, make a difference in the world. And yes, don't worry about the results. Results are always there. Your journey itself is a reward. And beyond that, nothing is in your control. Keep smiling, keep doing your best, right?
I find it so encouraging coming from someone that pretty much brings businesses, like really elevates businesses and empowers businesses and business people and entrepreneurs. I find it really fascinating and inspiring that you say that, and that it just shows up with who you are and what you've accomplished. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. That's my giving back. I was having a conversation with Matthew the other time. I said that's my giving back also. It's we need to have that growth also, because America, we need to dream big. We need to really have that also coming our way, because unless until we do that, it has to be a balance in life and everything. And then only I can, you can enjoy. If we are worried about, and if we worries about little things every day, you know what? That's not a good space to be in. Good space to be in, free, unlimited potentials, unlimited growth, unlimited friendships. And I'm honored. I'm honored to be in the presence of all three of you right now. Consider me to be your friend, and I'll be honored with that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And yeah, Matthew, I'm sorry. Were you saying?
Go ahead, Julie.
Oh no, I'm really present to the acknowledgement of what you took on in your life, Ginny, what you really saw as an opportunity, and then you recognize that in yourself, having the conversation with God or the universe, and then having and then really taking, participating in that by going out and doing the unfathomable, the unreasonable, really just taking that risk, and what the courage that it is to do something like that. And the courage that it takes for people to get that when they work with you in the business. I can actually see that. And what are the chances? Orchid adoption and gratitude. And so, and even I notice Abram, he's like, yeah, I just love that. And then, Matthew has his view. And so it's like all that, that story of the elephant where everybody touches different parts of the elephant. I know this is God, or this is, what an elephant looks like. Right. And then all these different views and working together. And this is what I see in creating this new world that we're that the breakdown world is the world that's going on now, but the opportunity is to really connect such that all of us diverse views can actually create and weave a jeweled tapestry, that is valuing everyone in some way, right? And everyone's part, just like in nature, everyone has a part. Like the mycelium have a role, the trees have a role, the bees have a role. Everybody's got a role. There's no one that's, even the weeds, the pests, so to speak, the pests, they actually have a role. And they've learned more and more that the weeds actually uptake the toxicity of the soil, and that other pests may actually eat the weeds and not necessarily the plant. So it's like, and harmonizing with that. And so I think what you're alluding to, and you've really lived from, Jenny, is connected to that source of wisdom. And I got that Abram and Matthew are already been walking this wisdom, and that's why they're like, we're going to expand it and bring it out into the world. So I really thank you for this opportunity.
It's so powerful, everything you're sharing. And one thing you said about Ginny that stood out to me is participation. And I see Ginny, I see you as you participate. You are in how you live it. It's not even there each hour, each day, it's each moment, each breath. And it's like you choose to participate. And that's something that inspires me about you. It's like, it is all participation. It's all a choice. And you are just the full embodiment of that. and it's so inspiring. It moves me, just like how you embody not only your last name, but you bring it out of everybody. And it's, you remind me to participate, in each moment, and each, in this life, how we can be connected in the garden. We can give thanks, and we can reciprocate, and we can regenerate, and how we can plant our dreams and plant our visions and plant, the future we live into is what we participate in, and what we choose to, whatever we decide to water is what grows. And we can water the beauty, or we can water the fear, and it's like that's a choice. And and I'm going to go as far as saying watering the fear will bring more fear, but watering the beauty will bring more beauty. And I just see this is something come full circle with with both of you shared about it. It's like we water the future we live into, and that's a choice we have in each breath. And it's just in that gratitude is our access to, when it seems ugly, when it seems scary, that there's always something to be grateful for. There's always something that is beautiful that we can choose to let grow, and to give it space to grow, and to love it, and to accept it for what it is, but to get to feed it. And how that one blossom will drop more seeds, and that will grow, and then those blossoms will plant more seeds. And it's like this is what you said, Julie. This is heaven on earth. It's like we are the garden that we choose to water or not.
Very wise words, Abram. Very wise words you just said. I recollect a story that I read, and this lady shared with her kids that she had 2 younger kids, and they were given seeds to plant in the garden, and they said, "Oh, these are great." They were so enthusiastic and lit up. And she said that in prior times, when farmers were given seeds, like she said that when farmers see that they're old seeds, like if they distinguish that those are old seeds, they'll say, "Oh, these are old seeds, they're not going to blossom." But the kids didn't see that. They saw that they were seeds. And she had had that thought the prior time in the past, that they were old seeds, and the seeds didn't do very well. And she noticed when she removed that from her thinking and just let that go, and let the kids just see them as seeds and not old seeds that are not going to blossom, the seeds did really well. Yeah. So yeah.
That actually brings up something that's been reverberating through both of your conversations, and that's expectations and how limiting they actually are. It really does. And both of you are examples of this. Abram, you're an example of this. Like it is the ability to see past expectations, or let go of expectations, that actually is growth. Like that is the only thing I feel like that holds us back, is our beliefs, our expectations. Like, if we see the world as a particular thing, that's the world we're going to live in. If we see the seeds as old and not being able to grow, they're old and they're not going to be able to grow. And as soon as we let go of that, the seeds flower, or the seeds sprout, the orchids flower. That it's we choose that. And that is like, that realization is one of like the most awe-inspiring and gratitude-inspiring realizations I've ever had. Is I am my own limitation, and that limitation is my expectations, my beliefs, and I have the power to change that simply by changing my viewpoint, hearing another person's story. So thank you both. Thank you both for just being what you are. I am truly grateful.
Absolutely. This has been an amazing conversation, and beyond what, I've learned to not have expectations, because I know on this, whenever we have people share, we invite them to share from their heart, and it always connects. And in that space, like I'm just humbled by this conversation, because it just reminds me of the simplicity of not only being enough, but of gratitude, and just what Matthew was saying is as how we get to choose, we get to choose the expectations in which we limit ourselves and the world by. And when we identify with the unlimited, just the unlimited space and infinite possibility that's available from who we truly are, not from our labels, our stories, our masks, the things that we limit ourselves to, these like conceptual prisons. And it's not only self-limiting, but it's the possibility is infinite when we recognize how unlimited and infinite we actually are, and in that and the choice we have to water that, and to nurture that, and to feed that, but for ourselves and others in the world. And this is true on a micro and a macro. It's like, this is true for communities, this is true for individuals, this is true for the world. And I see it's like this is a universal experience, and it's like, and when we hold each other in that unlimited possibility and identify with each other as that infinite possibility, there's no limit to what we can achieve. And then we're not constrained by, well, like, when will we stop fighting in war? When will we stop doing this? It's like, I don't think it's impossible all Palestinians and Jews will get along. It's impossible for this to happen. And it's like, says who? You're the one creating that. And it's like we are the ones who get to say, and this is true infinitely. And it's like, and the more we all recognize this, and we all share ourselves and our stories and and we share our own experience of identifying that core inauthenticity of humanity, that I'm just one person, there's nothing I can do. And it's like, and it's just like it's the same thing, just one vote, I'm just one person, I can't make any difference. And it's like, that's only true because you believe that. And when you recognize yourself for who you are rather than who you're not, that's the conversation. That's the world that I'm living into. And that's the conversation we're all living into, and I invite you to join us. This is a world that we choose, not limited by our expectations, not limited by our fears, but more open to the vast infinity of who we are and what's possible when we choose to be grateful, when we choose to nurture and water the love and the beauty that's always there. Even when it's hard to see, it's still there. It's still always there. And I just thank you both so much. This has been such a beautiful conversation, and it just warms up my heart, and it's exactly what I needed. So thank you. Just honor and just love both of you. Just thank you again for being with us.
Thank you so much, Abram. Thank you, Matthew. And thank you, Ginny. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. And yeah, this has been an amazing conversation. I want to invite you at home to share on the stage. Who you are has a infinite impact. And this is why we have this stage. This space is for you to share the gift that you are. The gift that you are moves mountains. You like have such an infinite possibility. Like I can't even put to words what's possible when you recognize, experience, and focus on the gift that you are. And that's why I created the stage. That's why Matthew and I host this every week, is to just remind ourselves, but to invite you to share and receive the gift that you are, and that we all can experience that in each other and hold that space for each other. Because again, what's possible when we all recognize ourselves for who we are and let go of who we're not. So this is part of what our one day vision here is, is humanity rising in a connected world where each person's unique gifts, genius, and contributions are valued and magnified through a higher level of collaboration, producing unprecedented new realms of possibility. Thank you all so much for being here. I love you all. Be safe, be well. We'll see you next week. And as always, one day is today. Peace, everybody.